Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, June 3rd, and I'm your host, Brian Boudreau. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. Norwood kicked off its tribute to its fallen heroes on Saturday. The community gathered at the corner of East Hoyle and Washington Street, which holds dedication to Navy Seaman James Sandstone, to dedicate Norwood's first tribute to its Vietnam veterans. Director of Veteran Services Ted Mulvihill explains not only the significance of this bench, but also its location.
It was a great day and a historic day in the town of Norwood. We dedicated a Vietnam Veterans Memorial Bench inscribed with 9 names of Norwood men who lost their lives in sacrifice in support of our nation's freedoms during the Vietnam War. It's been long overdue. Norwood has a long and proud tradition of recognizing their veterans' services. The Norwood Town Hall is dedicated to Civil War and World War I soldiers. The Civic and the airport are dedicated to World War II soldiers. The Korean bench up at the post office is for Korean War veterans, and now Vietnam veterans finally have their recognition, and as I said, it's long overdue. This corner of East Hoyle and Washington has always been the memorial corner for Navy Seaman Jimmy Sandstone. I've been wearing Jimmy Sandstone's wrist bracelet for 49 years. Jimmy, sadly, is missing in action. He was lost at sea. So the 9 names on the memorial have equal amounts of sacrifice and are due honor equally. But when they built this park, we got a grant to build it. I said it was the perfect place to recognize all of our Vietnam veterans in Norwood who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And so we did it right here. And now this corner will be called Norwood's Vietnam Veterans Memorial Corner at the James Sandstone Memorial.
Norwood resident and former U.S. Marine Stephen Esco shares his thoughts on the dedication.
It's, as Teddy said, it was a long time coming for the town of Norwood. I myself, my family, my wife and I celebrating 40 years here in Norwood, and I'm elated to see that this memorial took place. We're here to remember those veterans that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country and to preserve our freedoms that we enjoy. We just don't ever want to forget those who made that ultimate sacrifice, and those that are still missing, our prisoners of war. We can only hope that we find remains and bring them back home here.
The keynote speaker of the day, Tom Lyons, a Vietnam veteran and former Marine himself, spoke of service, sacrifice, and remembrance, and that it's never too late to honor a vet.
The important thing is that it was done. It doesn't matter how, all those years later. But I think most importantly, it's going to be a permanent reminder to generations of the service and sacrifice that was given from the young men of Norwood. For many of us, the welcome home wasn't exactly what we wanted. But all these years later, I like to think that the way we welcome our young men and women coming home from these last 2 wars was the direct result of what didn't happen when Vietnam veterans came home.
Such a touching tribute to the lives lost protecting their country during the Vietnam War. Thank you to those who served and continue to serve. Continuing to honor our fallen heroes, Norwood held its first in-person Memorial Day observances at Highland Cemetery on Monday. As always, Ted Mulvihill emceed the event and hosted a lineup of speeches, proclamations, and music to honor those who died fighting for the United States. To watch the full Memorial Day ceremonies and Vietnam Veteran Corner dedication, watch the NCM Community Channel or anytime on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. This coming Monday night, the Norwood Planning Board will be meeting with several items on their agenda. One item, a major project special permit at 596 Boston Providence Highway, has residents concerned about the future of their neighborhood. Erin Crowley has more.
Monday night, the Planning Board will focus on this strip of land behind me. Director of Community Development and Economic Planning, Paul Halkiotis, explains.
So the Planning Board has a full agenda on Monday evening, June 6th. One of the continued public hearings is regarding a piece of property at 259 Neponset Street. It abuts Route 1 and the on-ramp from the circle above Route 1 going down onto Route 1. The Planning Board approved 2 years ago a site plan approval for an enterprise rent-a-car business, at the old Cap World site. And subsequent to that, the owner came back to the planning board and requested a major project special permit to construct a total of 205 parking spaces. Some of those spaces belong to the Enterprise Rent-A-Car project, and these would be an additional 164 parking spaces on 1.83 acres, which directly abut that on-ramp to Route 1. The proposal is for Enterprise Rent-A-Car business to sell cars that in their fleet that they no longer need, and that area that is being proposed for open lot storage of vehicles, they're proposing to use that as a yard for selling their vehicles in their fleet that they'd like to get rid of. We've had public hearings starting back in February, and we've had, I think, 3 or maybe 4 public hearings on this. The folks that live in the neighborhood that abut this property, this would be in their backyards, are very upset over the proposal. We've done our best, the planning board and the engineer representing the property owner, to try to mitigate the impacts associated with that parking lot. Those mitigation measures include increasing the setback between that development and their properties, an 8-foot high fence, and a landscape buffer.
Residents and direct abutters to the proposed special permit, Eve Hogan and Gail Ladani, have been very outspoken against the proposed lot.
We then, after we found out, we went back and found the documents given to town meeting about this proposal for the rezoning, and it does not mention the woods. It does not mention our neighborhood, and in fact, it basically, touts all the benefits that would be from the rezoning, and they're the exact opposite of what is going to occur if these woods are destroyed. So, for example, the town meeting members were told this is going to improve the town, protect the environment, improve the green space in Norwood, expand our tree canopy, and move car lots, open vehicle storage lots, away from residential neighborhoods. So this rezoning was presented to town meeting members as a great benefit, totally innocuous. This is to, reduce the impacts of climate change. It's basically to move the car storage lots away from everybody and put them on Route 1, and that means that we'll have green space everywhere else. And so when we speak to town meeting members, it's not only the case that they had no idea, it's also that, this was completely different from what they intended and thought they were passing. And a lot of town meeting members, now that we're talking to them, are saying, did this even come before us? We don't even recognize it from what you're saying versus what we were told. They didn't even think that they voted on it because it was so different.
Although the planning board is set to discuss the special permit at their upcoming meeting, there are some outstanding issues that are yet to be resolved.
The project is more complicated because it has an Algonquin gas main running through the property. And the owner has been asked to get a letter, an authorization letter from Algonquin Gas to the planning board indicating that they approve of the construction of the parking lot above this gas main. This letter was promised months ago, and we're still waiting for it. And so that has further complicated the project. There's a piece of town-owned property, old tax title land, that also abuts the residential neighborhood and this piece of commercial property. And the zoning requires that they construct this 8-foot high fence separating the Boston Province Highway District from the residential district. But that piece of town property, no fence has been proposed there, or there hasn't been any discussions about whether or not the Board of Selectmen would approve a fence to help to create that buffer. So those are some of the outstanding issues that we're working on. The engineering issues associated with the construction of the parking lot and the parking lot lighting have all been resolved. The town engineer has no further technical issues with the project. But there are outstanding issues with the gas main authorization letter, providing that continuing fence across the town property, and the gas main is within an easement. And as I understand it, the applicant's engineer is trying to get the gas company to allow a gated fence through that easement, so that would help to create that continuous fence separating the residential from the commercial development.
The Planning Board will make a decision on the special permit at their meeting Monday night at the Senior Center. The meeting starts at 7 p.m. For Norwood Community Media, I'm Erin Crowley.
Monday night's Planning Board meeting will also be recorded and rebroadcast on Norwood Community Media all next week. We'll be right back with an update from the library and a look at a local Norwood business. Welcome back. The Morrill Memorial Library is turning the page to summertime. Here's Library Director Clayton Cheever with this month's Morrill Moment.
Greetings from the Morrill Memorial Library, Norwood's public library for everyone. I'm Clayton Cheever. I use he, his pronouns, and I'm your library director. I'd like to tell you about a few things happening here at the library this June. There is a lot happening this month, starting with the Town Pride Picnic on Saturday the 4th from 2 to 4. Norwood's first Juneteenth celebration happening on Saturday the 18th from 11 to 2, and so much more. Please check our online calendar for all the latest details and follow us on social media for updates. Our summer reading program is kicking off when registration opens on Monday, June 6th. The theme this year is Reading Off the Beaten Path, and it will start in earnest when kids can start logging their reading starting on June 27th. Every child that registers will get a Read and Bead necklace, and as they read, they'll earn beads to add to it. There'll also be many opportunities to earn tickets to shop for prizes at our camp store at the end of the summer. We have some great programs happening for adults too. On Tuesday evening, June 21st, starting at 7, we're welcoming drag performers Lou DeFlyest Priestley and Ivana to the library for a special in-person program. Have you ever wondered what it's like for performers to transform into their drag characters? Over the course of the evening, Lou and Ivana will answer questions and chat with the audience while applying their makeup and getting into character. Registration is required, so I encourage you to reserve your seat today while space is still available. As I've referenced, registration is required for many library programs. You can easily register from our website at norwoodlibrary.org or give us a call at 781-769-0200, extension 2, any of the time the library is open. We'll be happy to help get you registered. We're open Monday through Thursday from 9 in the morning till 9 at night, Friday from 10 to 5, and Saturdays in June from 9 to 5. Our Sunday hours are suspended between Memorial Day and Columbus Day this year. This month will also be closed on Friday, June 10th for staff development, so please plan accordingly. I also want to thank the Friends for their support of these programs. Have you seen any good movies recently? Are you tired of looking at tons of lists without finding something new and interesting to watch? We have a great online resource to come to your rescue. IndieFlix has a ton of independent movies I'm sure you haven't already watched a dozen or more times. You can find this great collection of classic and contemporary features, shorts, and documentaries from around the world as an extra in the Libby app or in our list of online resources that you find when you navigate to our homepage and follow the link to databases under the Digital Resources menu. I've brought some books I'm excited to tell you about. Mr. Watson's Chickens, written by Jarrett Dapierre and illustrated by Andrea Surumi, is a fun story of how Mr. Watson and Mr. Nelson have to manage their ever-growing chicken collection. It has lots of counting and silly rhymes, and I had a great time looking at the detailed drawings, which are just so much fun. I also brought Paletero Man by Latin Grammy winner Lucky Diaz, illustrated by Micah Player. This gorgeous picture book, written in both English and Spanish about a boy's quest for the delicious frozen fruit treat sold from street carts in many cities around the world, is a great way to dive into the joys of summer. For older readers, I have two books. Melissa Broder wrote the novel Milk-Fed, a tale of appetites, physical hunger, sexual desire, spiritual longing, and the ways that we as humans can compartmentalize these so often interdependent instincts. It's been described as scathingly funny, wildly erotic, and fiercely imaginative. It's a story about food, sex, and God. The second book for adults that I've brought is A Question of Freedom by William G. Thomas III. The subtitle for this book is The Families Who Challenged Slavery from the Nation's Founding to the Civil War. In the spirit of Juneteenth, this award-winning history book tells the story of hundreds of lawsuits filed by a group of families in Prince George's County in Maryland over 70 years and 5 generations fighting for their freedom. A Question of Freedom asks us to reckon with the moral problem of slavery and its legacies in this present day. Whenever people think of libraries, they naturally think of books, which is great. I'd love to talk about books until long after the sun's gone down, but I want to make sure you know we have so much more here for you as well. One of Norwood's hidden treasures is our library of things. June's a great time to get together and celebrate our relationships with each other. Perhaps you're thinking about getting married? You may want to check out one of our wedding kits. This one has a candle holder, a collapsible card box, and the knot guide to wedding vows and traditions, so you can create a lasting memory celebrating your commitment to your love. If this isn't in your calendar this summer, I encourage you to check out our Library of Things online to get inspired for other ways to enjoy yourself this season. This has been a Moral Moment. From everyone here at the library, I wish you and yours a safe and happy June.
Thanks, Clayton. And just a reminder, June is Pride Month, and the library has an exciting lineup of events for the whole family. Check out our social media page for a detailed schedule. Back in 2012, Swan Thang, owner of Sky Spa, decided to follow her dream and open her own beauty salon. 10 years later, she has now become a staple in the town of Norwood. Her love and dedication to her staff and customers is what makes her so successful. Megan Corbett and Erin Crowley were able to sit down and chat with Swan about her business.
Sky Spa, located at 451 Walpole Street, is a local beauty spa that specializes in natural nails, waxing, and lash lift services.
We specialize in natural nails, dip manicures, natural lash, and gel manicures. We don't do any official nails. We specialize in waxings and lash lift. We have a new product called the Inlay Lash Lift. It's usually for treatment for lashes, natural lashes. It's specialized in treatment and for lashes to lift and stay strong and healthy. It gives your lashes an enhancement to change people's look and appearance. And a lot of time people use serums every night, and this is it concentrates in the new nutrition for your natural lash, and they stay like that for up to 5 weeks. And if people like, they can just repeat it every 5 weeks instead of like you keep on putting serum every day.
Owner Swan Thang and her family came over to the United States to experience the American dream. With the support of her friends and family, Swan opened Sky Spa in 2012. Swan is grateful for all that her parents and husband have helped her accomplish.
It's love at first sight when I've been to Norwood and looking for a place to open my dream place and go and buy this place, and I just know it's the one. It's felt really scared. It's such a, a big pressure on me because my husband always supported me. He's like, you're really good at it, you should make your dream come true. And it's an American dream where I always dream of. And it's something I always follow and reach my goals. So that day that we decided to open, I was like, are you sure, are you sure? And it takes us a very long time to achieve to where I am today.
Swan built a business in Norwood and quickly grew a large client base. Over the years, she has helped family and friends of Sky Spa through difficult times by organizing fundraisers.
Community is very supportive. It's a big family. Anything that happened in this community is amazing. They support you. It's always something for me to lean back in its town.
Swan constantly praises her amazing staff that has been with her since the very beginning.
My team is amazing. They all been here almost since the first day we opened. And yeah, since 10 years, most of them have been here more than 6-7 years. We have an amazing, strong team. Everyone works together.
To learn more about Sky Spa, please check out Instagram or visit their website at myskyspa.com.
Now we're going to toss it over to Mike Maloof with sports.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Update. As I mentioned on last week's report, softball needed to win Friday against Holliston to qualify for the state tournament. In the bottom of the second, Natalie Gale broke open the scoring for the Mustangs with a hit back to the pitcher but scoring Madison Collins. Then in the top of the third, Holliston would hit a 3-run home run to put them ahead to 3-1. The score would remain that way until the fifth, when senior Kaylee Reed would hit one out to center field and an error would allow the run to score for the Mustangs. Then just one inning later, another senior, Shannon Govert, drove in the tying run for the Mustangs with a fielder's choice to shortstop. Just a few batters later, with 2 outs and a girl on third base, sophomore Molly Federico beats out a ground ball to shortstop to drive home the go-ahead run for the Stangs. The girls would get another one in the inning, extending their lead to 5-3. Freshman Pauline Cordani, who pitched a complete game, shut down Holliston in the top half of the seventh, and the Mustangs secured the win and the tournament berth. We spoke to Coach Carol Savino after the game.
I thought the kids played excellent. They were all out. What they know is nobody's better than them. They should be all out all the time. Pauline, as a freshman, pitched a nice game, but the kids made their plays. Kaylee did a good job behind the plate. Okay, Sammy is unbelievable at short. All together, an all-out effort, and these kids will never quit. They'll never quit, and that's what I have to love. And 5 seniors are the best of the best.
We had some individual athletes competing this past weekend as our track and field stars were out at Westfield State for the D3 state meet. There were some great finishes for the Mustangs, with Christina Fontaine placing 5th in the 100, Eric Wale, Jordan Woodley, Isaiah Groupie, and Elias West placing 4th in the 4x100, and it was topped off by Isaiah Groupie finishing as a D3 runner-up in the 200. Congrats to all of you on incredible seasons. The rest of the team sports had the week off and awaited the seeding of the MIAA state tournament. As we record on Friday, some of the sports have been released and some are still waiting to know if they have made tournament or not. What we know so far is baseball is the number 11 seed and will be hosting the Shoba on Monday night at 7 p.m. in Balch. If you're unable to make it down to the field, you can watch it live on our community channel. Softball is the number 35 seed and will be traveling to number 30 Wilmington on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Both lacrosse teams are awaiting their seedings, which should be released Saturday afternoon. Volleyball and our tennis teams both missed tournament this year. In youth sports news, NCM was down at the Lower Cleveland Field this week for 2 Norwood vs. Norwood youth softball matchups. Tuesday night, the Wolverines took on the Ducks for the opportunity to move on to play the Bulldogs. The Ducks got on the board early, scoring 3 runs in the first, and the Wolverines responded, scoring 2 of their own. Then the Wolverines pitcher Sarah Randall settled in. She only allowed 3 more runs in the remainder of the game, and the Wolverines came away with the 8-6 win. Then on Thursday, they were back at it, this time against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs pitcher, 7th grader Anna Iantoska, had an amazing game, striking out 8 of the first 9 batters and 17 in total. Sarah Randall pitched well for the Wolverines, but the Dogs proved to be too much. Allison Grenham led the way at the plate for the Bulldogs, going 4 for 4 and scoring 2 runs in their 8-3 win. Well, that's all for sports this week. Make sure to tune in Monday night for the first round tournament matchup for the Mustang baseball team. Game starts at 7. Brian, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. The school committee met remotely Wednesday evening. High school administrators Hugh Galligan and Cindy Durain provided updates to the committee regarding the new high school handbook. Dr. Wyeth, in collaboration with Dr. Frazek and Dr. Casali, reviewed MCAS and Renaissance data for middle school math. Dr. Frazek outlined a special SEL program CMS teachers are using to grow as educators, using a weekly plan called the Character Strong Weekly.
So we get sent these every week. I think I just get sent them because I'm like the facilitator, and then I usually put them in my Monday morning quarterback for staff. They're 2 minutes, and they just kind of talk about a little piece. So I thought I think it's literally 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. Dr. Wyeth, if you wouldn't mind just showing it.
2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Have you ever heard the line, "You only get one chance to make a first impression"? Welcome to the Character Strong Weekly, a quick idea or strategy to help transform your daily work. Rule number 1, names are important. When I think back over all my years of teaching, I'm saddened by the number of times that during the first day or week while taking attendance, if there was a name that came across that I was not familiar with or was difficult to pronounce, my tendency was to give it my best shot. Sadly, the vast majority of those times I was not even close to accurate. And here I am at the high school level. How many times, how many years has that student had their name mispronounced or even butchered in front of their classmates? Not the best first impression. You know when we don't get this scenario wrong? Graduation. We have students write down their name, in many cases phonetically on a note card, because you know what? We're not going to get it wrong on that day. And yet the irony is sometimes we'll get it wrong for 13 years leading up to that day. Here's the strategy. To start the year, semester, right, whatever it is, give each student or family member, if it's a younger student, a note card. And ask them to write out their name phonetically and turn it back into you. What if on the very first day, first moment, you got it right? Let's have a much more intentional and positive first impression with our students. Sometimes you may even find out what students prefer to be called. I have a close friend who goes by their middle name. At the core of our work, it's all about relationships. And so many times, relationships start with learning and using each other's names. Remember, this is not one more thing on the plate. It is the actual plate.
So I think this kind of emphasizes some of the things that's always helpful for us to have reminders of in the busy grind of the day. And they're all that kind of short and always kind of provide a nice tool like that.
Elementary STE Coordinator Elizabeth Warren updated the committee on exciting additions coming to the STE curriculum. In his superintendent report, Dr. Thompson detailed highlights from a Facebook Live he hosted in late May regarding school start times. He shared this message of congratulations to the class of 2022 as they prepared for Class Day and graduation this weekend.
So quick reminder, this Sunday is graduation, so congratulations to the class of 2022, and I am looking forward to seeing you at 1 o'clock and also Friday at 1 o'clock for Class Day. So congratulations to you. I know that it is the last 2 years especially have been a little bit of an uphill struggle, but you guys have come through it smelling like roses, and I'm looking forward to celebrating with you.
Business Manager Karen Sheridan reviewed grant procedure details with the group. Dr. Thompson shared a building plan of the new Coakley Middle School building with the board.
But I also wanted to show a couple renderings right now of the building. So this is the auditorium, the 600-foot auditorium that they are looking at. This is the overall design. There are going to be meetings talking about the lights, you know, some of the production pieces for the booth and that sort of thing. But you have, you know, some real, actually, I'm going to shrink this down just a touch. Does that work better? You see a little bit better. And the nice thing about it is we're going to have appropriate sightlines. We currently do not have that in our auditorium. And again, this is looking at the stage from the balcony. You can see how that kind of is. And then the other piece that they've done a rendering on is the performance studio, or the black box theater, it's often called. So this is something where people can do group projects and performances. And you can see how this is a very flexible space with a lot of multimedia options in here. Student Commons, this is the first floor Commons, I believe. And you can, or actually this might be the second floor because the auditorium, I think this is the upper part of the auditorium. But you can see what the dining area would look like. The gymnasium, and again, there'll be seats for about 275 in here. That is a proposed rock wall. Of course, all this will have to do with construction costs and such. I'm sure the floor will be pretty much what it looks like there. You can see the artwork on the walls, the overall basketball court right here. Typical classroom, you can see that they have windows, and these windows will be opening. And they're talking about having these themed, you know, the blue team, the green team, the gold team. So these pieces here will be colored to represent, and again, bring those team spaces, you know, kind of your space based on color. Another typical classroom over here, different view of it. Another one over there. And then the front facade of the building. We did go through several renditions of looking at this, changing the color configuration, changing some of the branding and that sort of thing. Ultimately, the the middle school building committee did vote to keep this color scheme. And I'll speak for myself, but the thought there is that this is a school for middle school age kids, and they truly identify with the branding of being a Norwood Mustang, as does anybody in the area who sees you walking around in it. So that's kind of my update.
Dr. Thompson detailed an MOU with Unit A regarding school start time changes. The board approved the MOU 3-0. Before adjournment, board members individually made thoughtful comments and calls to action following the devastating school shooting in Texas last week. The committee meets again on June 15th. Also Wednesday, the Conservation Commission met virtually with one public hearing on their agenda. The applicant, Metropolitan Cabinets and Countertop, applied for a building expansion in an existing parking lot in the buffer zone of a bordered vegetated wetland. To end the meeting, the commission discussed wetland issues and conservation business. Their next meeting will also be on June 15th. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news. Welcome back to Norwood News. NHS TV hosted their annual NEMI Awards Tuesday night. This was the first time in 2 years NHS TV was able to host in person at the NHS Auditorium. TV media teacher Pam Schnatterly opened the event and explained why the NEMIs are so important.
This is my first year teaching here at Norwood in the TV program, and I have to tell you, I am so impressed by the students and their talent and their work. And I'm so proud of everything you'll see here tonight and everything you won't see tonight as well. Their dedication to this program is incredible. Typical audience members, I don't think, appreciate the amount of work that goes into producing the types of stories that they put together. Between brainstorming ideas, scheduling interviews, storyboarding, scripting, finally getting out there to shoot after a lot of pre-planning, and then the editing to pull their packages together takes a lot of time. And I just don't think your standard audience kind of understands what they put into that. And it's all to take you, the audience, someplace that you cannot go, to introduce you to somebody you haven't met or learn something new.
The final award given out at the event was Student of the Year, awarded to a student whose dedication and talent in the TV program sets them apart from others. They also perform in leadership roles during the morning newscast and have worked outside the classroom for Norwood Community Media. This year's recipient was Allie Parkinson.
I couldn't be happier how it has gone, and as you know, Ms. Schneiderly took over the TV program this year, and I asked her if I could plan this night as one of my projects. Planning and managing events such as this is a passion of mine, and something I plan to pursue and explore more as I am majoring in management in college. This has been a great opportunity and experience for me because it's a mix of what I learned in class about media, production, and writing, and combining it with my interests of event management. I am so happy that we are back celebrating the work of TV students. You may see their segments on NHS Update or YouTube, but the planning, hours, and creativity put into these segments is quite amazing, and these past 2 school years definitely deserve to be celebrated. I would also like to say a huge thanks to NCM for helping run this show, and especially to Mr. Tolman, who really brought my vision to life by helping us with all things technical. So thank you again, NCM.
Congrats to Allie and all the students on their well-deserved awards. If you want to watch the rebroadcast of the NEMI Awards, tune into the NCM Community Channel. The seniors of Norwood gathered at Norwood Senior Center last Friday for a Memorial Day cookout. This was the last meal prepped by the Phoenix Academy, who cook all year long for the seniors. Senior Center Director Carrie McCarthy is so appreciative of the school and always enjoys watching the seniors have a good time.
So today is our end of the year cookout. You know, the Phoenix Academy is in charge of our culinary program here at the Senior Center. So the kids are getting ready to end their school year, so we do a cookout and they come and they serve for us and finish up the year. We'll be bringing back the lunch program in July, 2 days a week, and we'll also be doing our Tuesday night suppers. It's so important for them to come up here. Even if they stay an hour, if the afternoon is too long, if they get out, they see some friends, they socialize, have a good meal, and go home, then we've done what we're supposed to be doing. I'd like to thank the Norwood Cultural Council for sponsoring our entertainment today. Tommy Rull is our entertainer, so in about a half an hour, we're going to be up here dancing and enjoying some entertainment, all sponsored by the Norwood Cultural Council.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood News, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.